Good morning. Good morning. Give me just a moment to get everything live here. So let's see. Here we go. As you get here, make sure you say hello and let me know that you're here. All right. One more. All right. It says we're live. I'm going to check one more thing to make sure. Make sure. All right. I believe we are live everywhere. Thank goodness. Sometimes I swear I do all that and then I go later and look and nothing was live. So, welcome, welcome, welcome to my Monday. What the heck do we call it? Monday morning motivation? I have no idea, but it's Monday morning, and here we are. Here we are. So I am going to just jump right in, and I'm sorry I'm a couple of minutes late, getting on here as I was having technical difficulties, and, I was able to get on here just a few minutes late, so, thank you for being here, and, so, like I said earlier, as you get here, go ahead and say hello, because if you don't, I really can't see that you're there. Sometimes I can see, but I don't wanna call anybody out. And so I would love you to join in the conversation because it's going to be fun. So, first off, I want to start with, like I said, thank you for being here. But I want to talk to you about something that happened to me last night that I think is going to shift the way you look at every workshop, maybe every book or every lesson you think you've already learned. Hmm. What does that mean, right? So, have you ever said, "I already know how to do this," or "I've heard this before. I don't need to sit through that again." Right? I know I have. And the funny thing is that you might feel like it's all been heard before, but that is actually the most expensive thing you've ever said to yourself. Now, what does that mean, right? Well, for instance, I have a lot of books on my bookshelf. You can't see them because I'm facing the other way, but I have books over there, and most of them are self-help, motivational, that kind of material, learning. There's a lot on hypnosis since I'm a hypnotist. There's a lot on coaching because I'm a coach. And I've always been fascinated with mindset, why we do the things we do, what propels us. Um, and so there's a lot on behavior and right? All of this stuff. And you think you read the book and you've got the knowledge. And so I'll go in there and I'll be highlighting things. Well, what's interesting is I can go and pick that book up again and start reading it. And the things that were highlighted from the last time I read it, to me, don't feel important anymore. It's something else. And because one of the things that we talk about a lot is the only constant in life is change, right? We're always changing. We're either changing on purpose or we're just changing by default, but we're always changing and we're always learning. And what's important to us in one moment is different from what's important to us in another moment. We talk about the 50 billion bits of information coming at us per second, right? Now, there are some people give different numbers. I think the last one I heard that was really relevant. Good morning, the Grinch. How are you? But I think it is, who did I hear the other day? William White Cloud. And Joe Dispenza, where it wasn't 50 billion, it was 50 million. So I misquoted, right? So 50 million bits of information come at us per second because everything is energy, right? But we have this natural ability to filter out that information and only see 2,000 bits of information. And how do we see those? It's how we feel about the world, how we feel about ourselves, the things that we've done in our life. And two different people can see the exact same scene and both see different things because they're coming at it from their place, right? So when I'm talking about reading the books, then you've begun, you've learned, you've grown, you've done all these things, and you've changed from what you were a year ago. And I hope you can agree with that because it's the truth. So if you don't agree with that, you might want to really, really listen from here. Let me make sure if I've got anybody I need to. Okay, just checking to make sure if I need to respond to something. So the reason when you read a book, or I read a book again, and I no longer am drawn to the highlighted pieces that I highlighted before, I want to highlight something else. So some of my books you'll see highlighted in a yellow, then you'll see in pink, then you'll see in blue, because each time I read it, I highlight it with something different, right? But it's because your 2,000 bits have changed because you've changed. So the filtering system that you're using is doing its job. And so you're learning something totally new. Different things are important. And, and have you ever had that experience before where you read a book? I used to say I could read a book a second time and it's like they put in new words or a new paragraph, a new chapter, because I didn't even notice the thing before, right? So the things that I passed over before, yeah, makes sense. Yeah. The book didn't change. I did. But the thing is, I didn't even notice the change, right? Because it's a small change, but that's not a small thing. That's evidence that you've been growing and shifting and becoming someone different, even when it felt like nothing was happening. So one of the things I was thinking about this morning is I was thinking about going live with you guys. And so I usually am out in the morning and I'm walking my dog, and that's when all this stuff comes to me. So thank goodness for the dog walks, right? So when I was in high school, I was struggling tremendously with math. Go figure, right? I was having a very hard time, and I was in like my freshman year, I was really struggling with math to where I was passing, but I wasn't doing exceptionally well. But I could not seem to grasp the concept of this particular math that we were doing, algebra. And so I just couldn't. And I kept thinking, why can I not get this? What's going on? What's wrong? I'm a smart person, but I just can't get it. Well, then my sophomore year, I had a different teacher. What does that mean? That means suddenly I got it. It was easy. So it wasn't that I couldn't learn it, that I wasn't smart enough. It was just that I hadn't met the explanation that was meant for me yet, because this was a different teacher. She came at things a different way. She talked to us a little bit different. And it was like, poof, right there. I was making A's in algebra. The only difference was the teacher was speaking to me differently. And let's say I was a different person. So maybe I was paying attention in a different way since I had a hard time the year before. But what if the thing that you need to finally make it click is just one more conversation away, right? Just think about it. There's so many times that we try something and we don't seem to be able to understand it or don't get it, and we don't continue, we just kind of say, and we go on, right? But and there's a good thing about that too, is there's you don't want to be continuously knocking your head against the wall. I mean, if you're 5'2" and you're wanting to play basketball and you try and you try and you try and you try, it's probably not going to happen. Now, I could be wrong. There may be a 5'2" basketball player. I do not know, but that's just kind of what it feels like to me, right? There are times that there are things that don't serve you to continue with. But what I'm getting at is a lot of times we will say either that's too hard, I'm not smart enough, whatever, right? When that may not be the truth at all. It's that you just didn't hear it the right way, or it wasn't the right time. So we live in a world that rewards the novelty, right? The next new thing, the next new strategy, the next new program. And sometimes what we actually need is to go back to something we thought we already knew. Go back to something we thought we already knew and let the person we are today receive it. Because, like I said, reading the book a second time, a third time, a fourth time, each time there's something different in there that I grasp. And so I started with talking about a workshop that I was doing last night. Now, this workshop was about things that I teach. Yet I wanted to get onto this workshop and see what was going on. But the value in it was some of the things that I teach and I already know were presented in a different way that made it make more sense. And so, and let's say, well, I remember one of the things when my daughter was first learning to drive. We got in the car and I was telling her something. She said, I know. And so I had to stop and I said, okay. I said, the thing is, you don't know. The thing is that there's still things to learn, no matter how much you think you know. And we're going through this process to help you learn the things you need to get your license. If you already knew enough, you could just go take that test and you would pass. And that is not the case. We have to sometimes look at, no matter what we think we know, there's something else too, right? And so the way I look at it is every time I take another course or I watch another live or I go to a workshop, any of those things, even if it's something that when they first start, I might think, oh, this is the same stuff. I've already heard this before. Even when that happens, I come away with some nugget. Maybe it's a small nugget, but I come away with a nugget that serves me for a very long time. And so your subconscious is not the same as it was 6 months ago or a year ago, or maybe even last week, because remember, the only constant in life is change. We are constantly changing. And so this means that something that bounced off before when you heard it might land completely different now. So there is actually the science of how transformation works. You don't change all at once, you change in layers, and each layer makes you ready for something you weren't ready for before. And so, like I said, I was in this workshop last night on something that I teach. And something in that workshop hit me in a way it never had before. Same concept, different moment, different me, right? And I sat there thinking, what if I had decided I already knew this and didn't attend? Right? So it's important for you, important for me, to be open to possibilities, to be open to learning and growing, and to hear other people's opinions, other people's ideas. It doesn't mean you adopt their ideas or their opinions. It means you're open to hearing them. Because when you stay too closed up with, I know this and this is true and nothing else makes a difference, then you're missing out on creating more different 2000 bits of information. Because we filter the world through our beliefs of who we are, what the world is like, of what we're capable of. But if you open up that there are so many things that you can do, that you're a privy to learning, then your 2000 bits change drastically, a little bit at a time. It's not like you wake up one day and suddenly you see everything different, right? But just think about it. If you are a person, and I'm not saying you are, but if you are a person that feels like nothing ever works out, that things are hard, and that everybody else can do things, but for some reason you just can't. You're not going to be the person that sees the opportunity the next day when you're out and about and somebody mentions something to you. You're not going to see that as an opportunity at all. You probably might even not even hear it. You might be the person that something shows up online as an opportunity and your subconscious mind says, nope, that's not part of my 2000 bits per second. So you just bypass it. But if you're the person that thinks, I can learn anything, just giving myself a time, just because I don't know anything about what this person's talking about, I can see the value in it. Maybe I want to try it. Those are the kind of things that are going to have opportunities begin coming to you, because your 2000 bits of information that you see every day, every second, right, will change to where you can actually see the opportunities around you. So I, for one, want to see the opportunities. And then I can make a conscious decision on whether it's a good opportunity for me or not. But wouldn't it be horrible to just kind of feel all of those negative feelings and emotions about yourself and about the world? And then what happens is you're kind of living in a box. And that box keeps you from growing and learning and meeting new people and doing new things. That box holds you tight and things never change. How does that feel? Things never change. Not for me. And I hope not for you as well. So with that, I want to mention that next week, my friend Christine and I are hosting a workshop. It's a My People party called Make Money Online, the beginner-friendly way to sell with confidence. So maybe you've been a person that has been wanting to branch out and have other sources of income, and you just don't know how to start, or you don't know what's available. And maybe you feel like, I don't know that I have the time. Whatever it may be, whatever you've been telling yourself, you already know what you need to know, or that you're not ready yet, right? So come anyway, because the version of you showing up that day might be exactly the version who finally gets it. The version that finally gets it. Oh, let me grab the link real quick. Hold on a second. Where did it go? Hold on. All right, let me get back over here. All right, here is the form to sign up to join us, and it is Wednesday, May 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And in there, we're going to be talking about different ways to make multiple streams of income, different things that we have been working with, and we're going to talk about an opportunity to get a lot of these things started. And during that, because I'm a hypnotist, right? I'm going to actually do a group hypnosis that will allow you to tap a little bit more into your beliefs that it's possible, the beliefs that you can do that. You can make that work. You can, right? Because that's what it boils down to. What do you believe you can do? And then the other thing is, if you're ready to dive into a little bit more of your belief system and why maybe you're feeling the things you're doing, as far as you know what to do, you just can't seem to make yourself do it. You kind of feel like you keep going into the same loop over and over again. So if you're ready to go even deeper into some of this, to actually clear what's been sitting underneath all the knowing and still not doing, that's what I do. One session can actually shift something that years of trying hasn't moved, but I like to help people at a greater length than that. But I will say, the best thing to do is get on a call with me and let's just talk about what you are wanting to do in your life. And we can uncover a belief that might be the very thing that's keeping you from getting to it. So I'm going to share my link for that. Hold on. And I know sometimes this makes me freeze, but I'm in a different window to get this. Here we go. Whoop, whoop, all right. Copy. All right, give me a second. I'm just trying to put this all in the windows, because sometimes what happens is I try to go back and can't find the place to put the link. So I want to just do it all at one time. All right, so I've got the link in the comments to schedule if you would like to schedule, but don't let the phrase, "I already know this," be the wall that stops you. So I'm asking you, be curious. Show up one more time. You might be surprised who you are now compared to the last time. A lot of the courses and the workshops and stuff, I'll do multiple times because there's so much value every single time. And let's be honest, unless it's a recording, it's a little bit different every time too. But even a recording, I can go back and listen and watch and gather a different nugget that I didn't see before. And you can too. So I'm inviting you to join us for the workshop. If you've ever thought you would love to have more money coming in, then you definitely want to show up for that, because I'm telling you, it's going to be amazing. You're going to be very surprised at how capable you are when you have the right tools. And then if you want to release some blocks, reach out. There's no charge for the calendar call, and we'll see where we can get you. And as always, remember, I love you guys. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm glad you were here. And if you're here for the replay, put hashtag replay. Let me know that you were here, and ask questions if you want to ask questions. I would love to come back and find some questions. And or if you don't feel comfortable putting them in the comments, you can always DM me. And I know some people feel more comfortable with that, and that's okay. I will meet you where you are. And as always, life is delicious. And I'll see you in the comments. Love you guys.